Hi, everybody. It's Leslie Denny, and I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Yoga Oceanside and chair class today. So come on over and meet me on the mat. If you are using a chair on hardwood floor, I like to always include the information that you may want to use a mat so that the chair does not slide. You want to have the chair back high enough so you can rest your fingers on it, but sometimes if it's too high up, it's going to be hard to get over the top of the chair. So just make sure you have a nice little height. I'm just using a really stable little folding chair for myself. Block for your feet. If you're using those, we're going to be making use of our strap today. I have a bottle of water here, as I'm incredibly thirsty over the last few days. And then any essential oil that you might be using today, if you're making use of that. And then if you'd like to turn on some music that you enjoy, then feel free to pop that on as well. So I'm so glad that you took some time out to join us today. And I hope your day has been going great so far. So the thought that I had to share for you today came about really because I have said often I spend way too much time on social media, but it's a course of the work that I'm doing right now. So I have to be on it a lot. It's the way I connect with a lot of people. And it also, provides this level of self-fulfillment just to see what's going on with other people. And I enjoy it for the most part. But then sometimes it's almost like the peace is gone. And when we're so rooted in our opinions about things, whatever it is, then sometimes we lose this peace within ourselves and our peaceful connection with others. And that's why this quote today really resonated with me. It came from Albert Einstein, and he said, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding." I really thought about that because it resonated with me when I read it. And I thought about, gosh, how many times have I lost the peace, or I lost the peace in my communication with someone because I was maybe fighting for my perspective and not taking the time to either try to explain myself as far as what that perspective, how it was born, but also not trying to understand the perspective of somebody else. So I have a little story. The story that came to mind was in my life, my daily working life. Oftentimes I work a lot, and a lot of the jobs that I do, I sweat a lot because I'm also a fitness instructor. And sometimes I will do a couple of pretty hard workouts in a day, 2 or 3. And I tend to take maybe 2 showers a day. That's not unusual for me. Not every day do I do that, but there are a number of days that I have to take a couple of showers. And so one day, my husband John and I were talking. I was putting up the towels, and he took them down and he brought out some other towels. Now, the towels that I was putting up were kind of thin, and then the ones that he was putting out were really fluffy. And he said, he put them out, and I had left. And when I came back, I saw him. I was like, oh, I hate these towels. And so I took them off and I put them back, and I brought out the other towels that I liked. And this little dance went on for quite a while. And pretty soon we were getting at cross purposes and started talking about it. And he was like, I don't know why you like those thin towels. I like the really fluffy towels. And I said, well, I don't know why you like the fluffy towels. I really like the thin towels. And I said, they're kind of like the towels at your mom's house. They're so thick. And I just don't like them as much as the thin towels. But we weren't really talking about why and trying to create an understanding. So I said, why do you like these thick towels so much? And he said, I don't know, they just feel better on my skin. And he said, I just feel like they absorb the water better, and I just like them better. And he said, why do you like those thin towels? He said, because those towels just don't seem like they have a lot of substance. And I said, well, the reason is because I sometimes take 2 showers a day. And if I come back from my second shower, a lot of times that thick towel isn't even halfway dry from the earlier shower. Hi, Merlin. And when I said that, it was like a light bulb went off in him. And he goes, I totally understand. He said, I never even thought about that. He goes, you're right. They don't dry very easily. In fact, it takes them like 24 hours to dry. And ever since then, never a problem again. If he wants to use a thick towel, he'll bring out his thick towel. If I want my fine towel, my thinner towel, he'll bring that out for me. And we have made peace with understanding where we were both coming from. And that's kind of a silly kind of explanation. But I think sometimes the sillier things happen when we have misunderstandings. The sillier topic, rather, will bubble up instead of like a really deep-rooted problem. But in some days and ages, it can be a really deep-rooted problem. And the more we are deeply rooted in our conviction about something, it gets harder and harder to make peace with someone, make peace with ourselves, because this is what we believe, this is what we think, and this is the way it has to be. Instead of trying to explain, well, this is kind of the way I see it. And then even more so, reach out to someone to say, how do you see it? Why is it that you feel that way? What is it that you believe that is better thinking with that kind of a conviction? And we lose this a lot. And I've often ruminated on why. I think we're busier. Certainly, sometimes we get more disconnected. And because of it, we cease to have the dialogues that we may have had when we were younger. I know that when I think back before the high technological times that we have now, just remember, and I know everybody can relate to this, do you remember what it was like when you, sorry, I had a brief phone call there. I have not mastered the art of avoiding phone calls in the middle of using my iPhone when I'm live streaming. But back in the days before we had cell phones, before we had computers to reach out to, can you remember that? And I want you to think about going even farther back to before we had answering machines. And that goes way back. I know that. I think we were like one of the last people that ever got an answering machine in our little community. We just held out because our feeling was, why do we need to know who called? They'll call if it's important, and we can't answer the phone anyway. And chances are, if we call them back, we're going to miss them. And so why don't we just wait? And when we're home, hopefully they'll call at the time we are there. It made total sense to us. And back in those times, when we didn't have a lot of these ways to reach out to people, we talked more. I think we really and truthfully talked more. We didn't talk to answering machines. We actually kept calling until somebody was on the phone. We also had a lot of understanding that when the phone rang or we were calling somebody, it was highly possible that they were out in the yard or in the garage or, someplace else. If they had a really big house, another area of their house, because sometimes people didn't have a phone in every room. So we would let it ring like 12, 15 times just to make sure they really weren't there. And sometimes it would be like with a breathless answer, they would come running up and go, oh, hi, yeah, I was outside in the, in the backyard and I heard the phone ringing and I came running in hoping I wouldn't miss it. Because we didn't have answering machines to be able to collect information. And there was a beauty, in my mind at least, of that time when we actually reached out to communicate to people. And then on the other side of the equation, if somebody lived really far away, sometimes the only way, if we couldn't catch them on the phone, because time change sometimes really caused havoc. I remember this, and when we lived in Houston, just a 2-hour time change made a big deal in our lives to get a hold of family. But we would write letters. We would sit down and write letters. And it wouldn't just be a quick note on a card, you know, it would be a letter. I have boxes and boxes of letters that were written to me for so very long, and now all I have are cards. I have cards that I've saved, but I just don't get letters anymore. And I don't write them as much, but occasionally I do. I sit down and I write a letter to people that I want to reach out to say, here's what's going on, here's blah, 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 blah. And I think sometimes in those simpler times when we didn't have so much access to information, we also had to wait for the news. It was either in the morning or in the evening. Do you remember that? You know, the 6 o'clock news. And the newspaper, when it came, there's something to say about when times were simpler like that and the access to information wasn't as instantaneous and constant throughout our life, that we actually reached out to each other and communicated more and maybe found peace with each other because we spent time to understand where someone else was coming from. And there was a beauty in my mind with that simplicity. And the only way that I could do it now is to just simply shut down off of social, you know, media, start writing letters, maybe get rid of my voicemail on my cell phone so that people would actually need to call me. But then if they called and they didn't get my voicemail, they go, oh, you know, I guess either she changed phones or she's dead. You know, it's that kind of life now. And it's a vast difference from the beauty and the simplicity of needing to communicate directly to people back in the day. And yet we need to do the same work that we needed to back then to be able to keep peace, make peace, and pursue understanding of other people's perspectives. And certainly when we come to our yoga practice, I really like to think about that, because in this practice, we need to keep ourselves centered and very understanding and peaceful within the practice. I know some days that I'll come to my chair, and when I begin a practice, I'm so distracted. I mean, right now, I know that I just got a phone call and I've got a window telling me that that phone call voicemail is sitting out there. And so my mind started going in this direction of saying, I need to let that person know not to call at this time because it blocks out my phone and keeps me from being able to connect. And then I just realized, I thought, I can't do anything about that right now. So what I need to do is remember that I understand that I need to communicate that out there, that that person has no idea what I'm doing right now. And then in that little lacing of understanding, I can make some peace. And I have. So make peace with your practice today. If certain things don't roll the way that you want them to, it's okay. You can make peace with that through your understanding, your own heartfelt compassion, and find a beautiful acceptance right where you are. So come to a comfortable seated posture. And take a few deep breaths. And in that space, repeat the word Shanti. In Sanskrit, this is peace. And just keep repeating that word Shanti in your mind. You can say it out loud as well. Allow the word Shanti or peace to be what floods your mind today throughout your practice. Just keep repeating it to yourself over and over again. And then in the space as we're beginning, if you need to put on an essential oil or turn up some music that you'd like to listen to, feel free to do that. And let's draw the hands to heart center. And just keeping the word Shanti. And with the next inhale, reach the arms out and up. Exhale into your chair pose. Then inhale to sweep up. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to flat back. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, sweep the arms up. Exhale into chair. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhaling, hands to heart. We'll do two more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to chair. Inhaling, reach up. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale to your chair. Inhaling, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Then bring one elbow to the opposite knee or as close as you can. And just stretch out through your spine. Then with the next inhale, lift up. And exhale, turn to the opposite direction and just lengthen out through that spine as you twist. Then inhaling, lift up. Exhale, draw the arms to the side. With the next inhale, sweep that right arm up and over. Exhale, release it down to the side. Inhaling, reach the left arm up and over. And exhale, release it to the side. And just keep alternating from arm to arm. And one more time. Then reach both arms up and sweep back into your chair. Then bend the elbows and draw the elbows out to the side. Maybe drop the head down a little bit so that you're not feeling any tension at the back of your neck. Make peace with the pose. With the next inhale, sit up tall, reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, hinge forward, drawing those elbows out to the side and back. Inhaling, reach up and stretch. And exhale. Inhaling, reach up. And exhale. Two more. And draw the hands to heart. Just close your eyes and repeat the word Shanti or peace. Then release the arms to the side and slide the edges of your feet just down below about the ball of your foot across that foot bridge. Press the heels down and then sweep back into your chair pose. And allow the intensity in the posture to be in the working of those heels down. Then as you release the arms to the side, press into your toes and lift the heels until you feel that contraction in your calf muscles. And then release back into that. Heels down, arms out in front. And then as you draw the arms back down, heels up. So we'll combine this into a flow. Take a deep inhale. Exhaling, heels down, arms out. Inhale, lift the heels, arms alongside of you. Exhaling, heels down, arms out. Keep working through that flow at your pace. And one more time. And then gently release. Good. Go ahead and move your block perhaps out of the way. And maybe slide to the edge of your chair a little bit if it's comfortable. And then bring the left leg out. Move it into your warrior two. Then as you rest the left forearm to your thigh, stretch the right arm up. And we have a deeper variation to go into for today, if it's comfortable for you. Just relax the left arm down. So that creates a lot more load for the abdominals. So if you feel like your low back is starting to take too much of that load, just slide that elbow right back up onto that thigh. Then reach the upper arm up and around. We've done this before, and what we're trying to do is open up that shoulder and really pull in through that abdominal structure right there. But your respite is to be able to rest that forearm there and even keep this arm up if that feels better to you. Then just gently release back to your warrior two. Then reach the left arm up and stretch into that left side body, but relax through that right shoulder. And then release from there, slide that left foot in. Good. Switch it to the other side. Taking the right foot out, graze that right forearm to the thigh and stretch that left arm up. We'll find our warrior two in just a moment. Then move into the variation in stages. And then release back into your warrior two. Reaching the right arm up, stretch into that right side body. And then solidly move into that warrior two and hold the pose for maybe 2 or 3 breaths. And then slowly release by bringing your feet back in. Good. Move the block back into place and place the edges of your feet back onto the block, the heels dropping down. Then inhaling, reach up, lifting up through the calves. And then exhale, sink those heels down to stretch through the calves into your chair. And just move through that gentle flow. Take your time. You feel a little strength here in contraction at the calf muscles. And then stretch through them as you lean forward and just drop those heels down. This is a really wonderful variation of flow. And the reason it is that it's good to go into opposite ends of the spectrum for your calves, from stretch to deep contraction. And when we lift the heels, it's a deep contraction. And likewise, when we drop the heels, it can be a deep stretch. And then release from there. Slide your feet back onto the block. Inhaling, reach the right arm up and over. Exhale, draw it to the side and alternate from side to side. So obviously on our front doorstep, there is something very interesting. You may have noticed that I was averting my eyes a little bit because Merlin, my cat, is completely locked into front doorstep activity right now, and the tail is moving like a wild snake. So it always makes you go, what's out there? And one more time to each side. Good, and then release from there. So now try to bring yourself enough to the edge of your chair so that you're still stable. You don't feel like you're going to come out of it, and just draw the hands behind you. Clasp your hands and squeeze the shoulder blades together, lifting that chest out and up. When we're in this particular posture, taking the hands to the inside of the chair, don't be concerned with coming forward. Just stay seated upright and really open up that chest and take 2 more deep breaths. And then release from there and shoulder circles up and around. Good. Now let's move into a hip stretch. This is our traditional hip stretch where we can either use the block or rest the ankle across the leg. And then as you lean forward in that long flat back, just picking up that stretch through that outer hip. Just take a few breaths and just gradually sink your way into it. And then release from there and switch it to the other side, either using your block, switching it to the opposite side, or anchoring your ankle over the leg. Just lean into that stretch. And then release from there. Good. Go ahead and reach the arms up, interlace the fingers, push the palms to the sky. And then draw the arms out in front of you and give yourself that really nice big stretch through the upper back and the shoulders. And then release from there, hands to the lap and shoulder circles up and around. It's a nice big circling motion. Good. So let's come to a standing posture to come around to the back part of our mat. And as you bring yourself around, we're going to move immediately into a forward fold. So just inhaling, reach the arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. And from here, keep your feet anchored about hip width apart. And just relax through the shoulders, let the head hang if it's comfortable for you. If that's not comfortable for you, stay up a little higher. And then from here, sink into your chair pose. And remember, last week, when we talked about our chair pose, it was important not to drop the knees forward to sink into chair, in which case you'd feel a lot of tension at the front of your ankles, but to guide the hips back. And really, the chair is like you're seating your butte into a chair behind you. You know how you'll search out for the chair behind you? That's what you're doing. And then from here, you're going to feel a lot more weight sinking into the heels of your feet. And if you feel a little kind of waver in your balance, you can always grab onto your chair back here. And if you feel any tension in your knees, either come out of the pose or just shift the hips back a little bit more. And you can use one arm, no arms, or both arms, or alternating arms from side to side. So that's a lot of arms. It's like an octopus. You can keep working it any way you choose. It's your choice. And then release out of the posture. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. And then rounding the back, gently roll it up. So the flow that we did at the beginning of our practice with the chair flow, we're going to do that from a standing posture now. And remember, just have complete peace and compassion for yourself. If something feels uncomfortable, just bring yourself back from that and do less, because less can be more in your practice. So inhaling, reach the arms up. Exhale into your forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to your chair pose. And release into your standing posture. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to chair. And release into your standing posture. Very good job. Anchoring through your feet, press into the balls of your feet and lift the heels up. Then once you get here, just either kind of anchor into the balls of your toes or reach one or two arms up, or just keep holding on to that chair edge, whichever way you need. Then slowly release the heels down. Good. Sink back into your chair pose. I'm doing a lot of different variations with the arms, and you can too, or stick with what feels good to you. Then slowly rise back into your mountain. Good. Inhaling, lift the heels. Then slowly release the heels down and sink into chair. Then come back to your standing posture. So we'll do that a couple more times. Pay real close attention to your low back and your knees. Lift the heels up. And then as you slowly lower, sink into your chair pose. Then slowly lift heels up, rise tall. And then sink once again back into your chair pose. And then one last time, lifting heels off the mat and rising tall. And then slowly lowering and sinking back in. Good. And then come back to your standing posture. Really nice. So we're going to move into a variation on our eagle pose. And you're just going to go ahead and cross the left foot over the right. And then bend into that knee ever so slightly. But remember, like in chair, guide the hips back. And then from there, keep holding your chair and see if you can lift that left foot up and maybe around. So if I move my chair to the side, crossing the foot here, sinking down and back, and then lifting the foot slightly if I can. And if I can't, it's okay. Because remember, you're making total peace with yourself on every element of your practice. Then from there, just see if you can take one hand to release it, maybe two. So this is just a variation of your eagle pose. And then release from there. Now you want to check into your hips there, because if you felt some discomfort that ran through the hips, you might not want to go as deep this time. So as I cross my right foot over the left, sinking back into that little kind of almost a single leg chair pose. And then I can drop the right leg if I choose, and then either take one or two arms out. And then release from the pose there. That was really good. Let's move through one more chair flow. Inhale, reach up, straight into the chair. Then inhaling, reach up. Exhale into chair, using your chair to hold on to if you wish. Then two more, just like that. And then as you release from there, come back to your seated posture. So that was a lot of work for the hips today. It was a little bit different because we incorporated chair and its variations throughout our practice today, just as a change of pace. And you want to check into any repetitive stress, that you might feel throughout your hips and your knees, just tweaking little things that you need to so that you're always in comfort zone and at peace with the choices that you make. So good job. Let's go ahead and take our hands towards our knees. You can slide your way all the way back to the back part of the chair if you'd rather. And then just place the hand to the heart center and breathe into that hand. Just close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Good. And then we'll move back into the hip stretch that we did, because oftentimes when you move into chair and its variations, you can feel that in the hips. So either use your block to cross your foot across or at the thigh, and then lean forward. And you'll probably pick up that area exactly where you just worked. And then switch it off to the other side. Your choice on the variation. Good. And then release from there. Nice. Let's go ahead and take the block between the knees. Work a little bit of abdominals. And remember, you can be all the way to the back part of the chair or sliding forward, just depending on how your low back feels with it. So just squeeze the block as gently as you can, and then extend out through that right leg. Then lower it back down. And then alternate to the left leg and bring that back down. And just keep alternating from leg to leg. And then coordinate your breath so that it's really connected with the flow that you're working through. And then one more time each side. Good. Then release your block down to the mat once again. Go ahead and grab your strap. And this time we're going to do a little bit of, in some of our yoga poses with belly compression, it's really good for digestion. So depending on whether you had lunch or not, you're going to go ahead and take the strap at the end of your right foot. And then you're going to bring that knee up right up into your chest. And so I like using the strap because sometimes it's really difficult for people to get their knee, just hold their knee up. If you're better holding the knee up like so, that's absolutely okay, whichever one works best for you. So once you get that knee pressing up against your little belly, sit up nice and tall and take 2 deep breaths. Good. And then release from there. Then switch it to the other side. 2 deep breaths. Good. And then release and switch those knees from side to side. So using those belly type of compressions, they're just super good for your stimulating the digestion system. So I use those a lot. Like if I feel like I've got a little bit of an upset tummy, I'll use twists and belly compression poses to try to give myself a lot of relief, and it really works great for me. So let's go ahead and draw the strap at the end of the right leg, and then we'll bring the leg out to the side, stretching to the inner thigh. And this is the one where you can come a little farther to the edge of your chair if you'd rather. You can also hold on to your seat if you need to for a little extra support. And then draw that leg in, hand it off to the other hand, and move into your seated twist. And then release from there. Switch it off to the other side. Just anchor the strap at the end of your foot and then draw the leg out to the side, either using your chair to hold on to or just feeling that inner thigh stretch. And then draw the leg in and move right into that twist. And then release from there. Come to a comfortable posture for yourself, whatever that feels like for you. And I've got another little soothing thing to do for you today. It's the playing of the rain stick. Rain sticks are really a relaxing thing to listen to. And it's, you know, I've seen even kids' workshops where they've made rain sticks, and they'll just take like a paper towel tube, and you could do this with the, you know, your kids or your grandkids, and then they just put beans on the inside, but then they'll poke like toothpicks on either side, because the beads will travel around and through those little sticks that are on the inside of the tube. This one's a little different. It's actually an authentic rain stick. You can see it has the closure at the end that blocks it off at both ends. Little decoration here. And it's an American Indian rain stick. So close your eyes, and I'll be playing this a little bit, and then settle in, and then we'll come back after Shavasana to do our final closure on this lovely session today that's been all about finding your peace. Take a breath. Just bring yourself back a little bit, maybe give yourself a little stretch. We never find peace when we force things to happen. And gosh knows, I've thought about that with my yoga practice over the years. I've thought about it with just about everything that I do, that when I try to force something to happen, it just doesn't work. And yet when I try to shift my mindset towards more compassionate understanding, reaching out to try to see what the other side is, then usually peace unfolds on its own. So let's draw the hands to heart center. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And in the meantime, have a fabulous day. Take care now. Bye-bye.